How is it going, everybody? This is Eddie, and welcome to a new series about learning to program. Alright, I have attempted series like this before, and they've all fizzled out before I felt like I could upload anything, but I'm doing this one very differently, so I think it's going to be good. Alright, so we will be programming in a language called Lua. You may have heard of it if you play Minecraft, because it is the computer craft language, that mod computer craft. This is the website for Lua on the screen right now, and we will be programming in the IDE Eclipse. Now, if you don't know what an IDE is, it is a integrated development environment or independent development environment. I can't remember which. Doesn't matter really what it stands for. All you need to know is that it is a program or an application that, much like Microsoft Word or LibreOffice or OpenOffice or something like that, which you write text in, but it is specific for programming, because it will often compile your code if it needs to be compiled, or interpret it and run it for you and test it for you. And we will see all that today in just a minute. But first, let's talk about Eclipse. While we're at it, Eclipse, might as well pull up the website for Eclipse here. So it is a very common IDE that natively is for Java, which means when you get Eclipse as is, it is designed for people who will be programming in Java, which is another programming language, but we're not going to be doing that yet. That might be another series if this one goes well, but we will be doing Lua. Alright, so when you get to Eclipse, you want to go to Downloads, and you want to go for, there's a few different versions, which is why I'm showing you this. I was never really clear on the difference. Their site's a little slow right now. I don't know why. Also, I've been having some mic troubles. I just plugged it in and my computer didn't recognize it for a good 10 minutes, and then once I did get it to recognize it, it seemed like it was picking up a low volume. We'll see. Alright, this is taking a very long time. Well, anyways, you'll see a list of things you can download, and you want to get the Eclipse Classic. It's at 4.2 currently. Check the date of the video, it's probably changed depending on when you're watching this. But you also are going to need to go to this site here, which is eclipse.org/koneki, KONEKI /IDT / and what that is, or sorry, rather LDT, LDT, sorry. And what the LDT is it is a plugin for Eclipse. It is an add-on. It is something that you add to the program Eclipse to give it additional functionality that is designed for Lua, the language we're using. So it's taking the Eclipse, and it is that is meant for Java, and it is moving it onto Lua. And what you're going to do is you're going to go to installation. Yeah, see, that website loaded up quickly, so it must have been Eclipse. Oh no, actually this is the same website. It's just all the way down at the bottom. Never mind. And you're going to want to take note. You don't click it, you don't go to it, but you want to take note of this. Maybe you want to copy it. It's the best way to do it. This right here. Add the following repository is what it says. http://download.eclipse.org/ blah 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 blah. We'll get to that in a second. This video is going to be about setting up Lua and everything like that. So I'm going to go down here to this icon. This is the Eclipse icon. I'm going to open it up. and it's gonna bring me to this here. If you're opening Eclipse for the first time, it might bring you to something slightly different, but it's going to be about the same. It's going to be about where you want your workspace. This is where you want all of the files that you write to be saved to by default. And also where Eclipse goes to look for other things that you tell it to. So it's basically everything related with Eclipse that you do is going to be here, I think, is basically how it works. By default, it's set to your documents. If you use one partition or rather one hard drive or something like that, that should be fine. For me, I have an SSD, which is a solid state drive, a piece of hardware in my computer. It's pretty small, that I use for a few games, a few applications, and my operating system. And then I have a one terabyte hard drive for the rest of my stuff. So I have moved mine to the E drive, which is my hard drive. So mine is going to be different than yours, but don't change it to what I have because it's specific to you. If you don't know what it is, chances are you're going to be, if you don't know about this, chances are you're safe. As long as you have enough space on your computer, you're safe leaving it as the default. So I'm going to just click OK, and it is going to open up. Might take a while. All right. You saw that I had. Let me change something here. Actually, I already have my thing set to Lua, so I just have to kind of change it back. All right. Didn't look like anything changed, but that's okay. Alright, so you're going to see a splash screen with a welcome, that kind of thing. I closed out of it. I think I checked, never show me it again. But, do whatever you want. But then you're going to reach this, after you close out of whatever that is. You will see something like I am seeing right here. And this is Eclipse. You'll see over here the Package Explorer. That's all your different projects, all the different things you're working on right now. I have two. I have one called Fair Flip and one called Connect 4. Might be able to tell Connect 4, Fair Flip. You don't need to worry about that. This is completely unrelated to what we're doing. These are things that I'm doing personally for other reasons or for other people. But we need to get Lua. So the way you get plugins in Eclipse, at first I hated it, now I really like it. One of the reasons why I still use Eclipse is you go to Help Install New Software, right? So you don't have to download the plugin, you don't have to download it yourself, you don't have to copy the file somewhere, you don't have to do anything like that. You actually type in that URL we saw. I'm going to go back to Firefox and show you this link. download.eclipse.org/koneki/releases/stable. I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to press add on the install new software. This page changes a lot depending on your version of Eclipse. When I look for tutorials and stuff like that on installing this stuff, they generally have some other slightly different path to get here, and that's because it was for an older version of Eclipse. They may have settled on this. They also might change it again, but in general, you're looking to get something along the lines of this. It has a name and a location. Alright, so I'm going to name mine Lua, right? And location, I'm going to paste in that URL that we just copied. I'm going to press OK. This comes up with a bunch of options. The important one right here is the Lua development tools. But honestly, I never know what this is gonna call upon, so to be safe, I just get them all. So check them all, or press the select all button and hit next, and it will do all these things. Now it's going to give me errors because I have all these already, so I'm going to uncheck them all and click cancel. But once you do that, it's going to ask you to accept or decline the terms of service or whatever it is, and just click upsec. excuse me, click accept and keep going. So now it should be all set after you complete those sets of windows, and you should be able to switch to the Lua perspective. Now, what a perspective is in Eclipse, I know this is kind of a lot about Eclipse and not a lot about Lua, but that's just for this first episode. In the next, we will be moving into programming. And we'll be flying ahead, so hang with me here. Alright, so what a perspective is, it is the setup of the screen. Now, if I go up here to the toolbar where that package explorer is with all my projects, and I click and I drag it, you can see these green boxes go around, and that's all the different places that I can plop this window. I'm changing all sorts of things here. Things are getting real disorganized, and I'm hoping that I know the way to fix that. Right? And I believe, I hope, the way to fix that is to go into the new perspective. And what a perspective is this particular arrangement of these windows is designed to be more convenient for what you're doing. So if I had a, let's see, if you happen to know the language Clojure, which is a Lisp language that runs on the Java Virtual Machine, the JVM. If that's gibberish to you, ignore it, but it's another language, and it has something. It's one of the most important things to have is a REPL, which is basically a little interactive window where you can call code that you've written and it'll spit back what you get back. So if you have something that takes a number and it doubles that number and spits it back out, you can, it's a little place, and it positions it in a nice space for you, right underneath your code, so that perspective helps you out there. So I'm going to click Lua. Things are going to, perfect, I'm glad. I was getting nervous that that wasn't actually going to fix it for me. So it started out on Java, but I put it on Lua, because now you can see we have, I don't know why it says Android down there, ignore that, that may cause a problem that I have to address later. It hasn't so far, and it's said that for a while. I do use this for Android, so it's very possible that got set to something and I haven't set it back, but it doesn't matter. We have Script Explorer. It's no longer the Package Explorer, it's the Script Explorer, because Lua, you write scripts. You have an outline, you have this space over here, and you have a console or Lua doc or tasks, problems, that kind of a thing. If we head back to Java, one second. Yeah, okay, so it took a little fixing, but we're back to where we were, I think. That could have really screwed me over in that case. Actually, let me just fix this. So I go to Java, Window, Reset Perspective. Perfect. Great. Yeah. Alright, but Lua, that's what we want. We want Lua. And just in case, why don't we go to Window, Reset Perspective. Alright, and there's the same thing. Okay, so now we need to create our project and get briefly into code, and by briefly I mean one thing, just to test that we have our setup working. So I'm going to go to File, New, Lua Project. If you don't see that, you don't see Lua project, and Lua file doesn't count. I mean Lua project, which, since we set the perspective, it should be there. But if it doesn't, no, don't panic. First, check Other, and you're gonna get a list here. Okay, you're gonna have a bunch of folders, some other stuff up here. Class, interface, Java project. Those are all outside of folders because, like I said, Eclipse is meant for Java, and you're gonna have a lot less than me. Android. You won't have Android. You won't have Git. You won't have Java. You won't have Java. You won't have. There's. on my laptop where I do a lot of my other programming. I also have stuff like Google PyDev for writing in Python, which is another language that I also hope to do a series on eventually. But it doesn't matter. You forget about that. You're looking for Lua. Okay, so expand the Lua folder. You're going to have Lua file and Lua project. You're going to select Lua project. Now, if you don't have Lua, that means something along the way of that whole plugin installation went wrong. So either go back and watch the beginning of the video again to try it again, or look for more advice online for doing it, because maybe the process has changed since I've made this. I don't know. But if you don't have Lua as an option here, now you panic. Just kidding. Don't actually panic. I'm sure it's a quick fix. But find a way to get Lua as an option, and then create this Lua project. Now we need to name it. I'm going to do my first Lua project. You can name it whatever you want, I believe. There might be a few words that you can't do it as, but in general you can do it as whatever you want. And I'm gonna press finish. You could press next to get this information. There's a lot of information, so, you don't really need to think about. And here we are. So now you're gonna see here we have a main. This is actually, first let's talk about this over here on the left in the script explorer. You're going to see your project, you can expand it, you're going to see SRC and Lua 5.1. Lua 5.1, that is the most current version, or for me at the time, it's the most current version of Lua. It is basically, this is Lua, the language, it looks like, are all in these files, interestingly enough. Maybe not the entire language, I don't know, but point is this is some resources that come with Lua. SRC, that is the source files for your project. In this folder, that's what you've written, theoretically, but of course we haven't written anything yet there's already something in here, and that's because it put main.lua, the file, in here. So main.lua, that is the file which your program will start from, and we can add other files later. That's way down the line. For right now, actually, we're going to do something very simple. Okay, here we have a little tab called main. That's main here. That is the file. This is the code inside of the file. It has generated some code for us. We will be starting more projects, so we will see this generated code again. For right now, for the basics of programming, before we even get into anything Lua based, just basics of programming in general. Excuse me, sorry. We're not going to use this, so I'm going to highlight the whole thing and delete it. We don't need it now. I'm going to need a drink of water in a minute. Alright. So, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to simply print the words "Hello World." When you are programming and you set up one of these environments, it is important to test that everything is working correctly. It is important to know that you have everything installed and set up right, and the best way to do that is to do the most simple command. And in every language, generally, I don't know, this has just became a thing in the programming world, is to print "Hello World" to the screen in some way. So in Lua, this is why I chose this language, you simply type the word print, get some quotes, and type "Hello World." That's it. Now, we have some code here. We just wrote code. Let's save it with Control S. How do we run it? You could press this big green run button and it says "Run my first Lua project _main." And that's how it's right. But if you have multiple projects like me, sometimes Eclipse gets confused as to what you want to run, and so sometimes it might be better to right click on the project and go to Run As, and then do Lua application. But since this button says it's going to run the correct one anyways when we hover over it, I'm going to click that. I'm sorry, my throat just decided it was going to be like, nope, no more talking. Man, alright. But as you can see, down here in the console, we have the word hello world, and it's exactly the way we had it. Capital H, hello, capital W, world, exclamation point. So we could, so that proves that this is a success. It's doing what we thought it would doing. Everything we set up is successful, and we can now begin writing our program, writing lots of programs in Lua using Eclipse. I know that this has been one of the more boring videos you've probably sat through, because it's all just about setting up and not actually about doing. But believe me, in the next episode, we will hop right into programming concepts, starting with well, I'm not going to talk about it right now, especially because my throat's about to collapse. Oh man, this is the weirdest thing. Alright. Whew. Alright, so thank you for watching. I really hope this was helpful. I hope you enjoyed. Leave some requests for topics you want me to cover, and I will talk to you guys later.